Welcome to Human Risk, a podcast dedicated to the understanding of human behaviour as a risk. Here's your host, Christian Hunt.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Human Risk podcast. What you're about to hear is an interview that I recorded for the European Compliance and Ethics Community Conference, a virtual event broadcast from Munich in Germany. The idea behind the interview was to bring some local flavour to Europe's largest compliance and ethics event. Since the conference was held in October in Munich, we decided we'd speak to someone who's a major figure involved in the Oktoberfest. Michael Käfer is the host of one of the most well-known and popular tents at the fest. If you've seen photographs of celebrities at the Oktoberfest, chances are they'll have been at the Käfer tent. He's also the owner of one of Munich's most exclusive restaurants, which is where we recorded the episode, a chain of delicatessens and an events catering business. Michael is a Munich celebrity with some fascinating tales to tell. During his lifetime, he's played host to countless celebrities, set up a nightclub, and run a highly successful business. Of particular interest to us from a human risk perspective, Michael is running a business in a highly regulated industry, where he has to manage strict safety regulations and high standards. At the same time, he needs his staff to show flair and creativity in the kitchen and be incredibly engaging and human in providing exceptional service in his business. In our discussion, we look at the Käfer business, what drives Michael as a business leader, how he manages compliance and innovation while still respecting tradition, why vegetarianism is akin to digitization in the food industry, and a host of other fascinating insights about how he runs one of Munich's iconic brands. Speaking of which, Michael's surname Käfer also means beetle as well as ladybird. That's ladybug for my American listeners, which is why his business uses a ladybird as an instantly recognizable icon. In our conversation, Michael explains the story of how it came about and how chance led to his family being granted a highly coveted permit to run an Oktoberfest tent. We also explore his passion for Bayern Munich Football Club, what he loves about the city, and his recommendations for anyone visiting. What you're about to hear are some wonderful stories, fascinating business insights, and some valuable compliance lessons that are about as Bavarian as it gets. Before we begin, my huge thanks to the team at EQS, the organisers of ECEC, for making this happen and inviting me to be part of the show. As well as watching the video of my interview with Michael, you can also catch all of the presentations at this year's ECEC via the link in the show notes. With that said, here's my discussion with Michael Käfer, recorded for the European Compliance and Ethics Community Conference 2022. Hello, you're joining me at the Käfer with one of Munich's premier hosts. Michael, welcome to the Human Risk podcast live at the European Compliance and Ethics Conference.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you very much for being on a place. Yeah.
Well, thank you for hosting us in your wonderful restaurant. Just to start with, can you tell us a little bit about how you came into the business that you're in?
I think it started with when I was a baby, because my parents, they always talked about business, and I grew up here in this business, and in the end, it's one of my big loves to do this, and it's a special, it's a special business, because you host people and then you give them a good service, and then it's a little bit like an artist. You got applause from the people you see when the plates are really everything is taken away. So people like our food, and when they get out of the business of the restaurants or of our parties, and they have a smile on their face, then this makes me happy. And so it's the most wonderful business you can do.
And so tell us a little bit about the business. So you've got a restaurant. You host at the Oktoberfest. You have an events business.
At the beginning was just with my grandparents. They started with a small delicatessen shop, normal like this very small dailies. This was in the 30s, so already not really 100 years ago. And then my father, he has the idea of making catering. In this time we called it party service. It was very small, and then people started in the 50s, in the beginnings in the 60s. So when there's this economic wonder in Germany, and this was one of his big ideas. And then also my uncle, who was really in charge of the business, he had the idea to go to Paris and to find in Paris some special foods. And then I think in these times you are laughing about it. You have a kiwi or you have a papaya. Normal, everything is normal now, but in these times it was something special. And then people starting eating in this atmosphere, in the Bavarian atmosphere. There's just they just had a papaya, or of course they have some lobsters or things like this.
And of course, in those days, bringing things across the border from France was not straightforward. I mean, now you can just bring it in.
Yeah, in this times it was really not easy, because you had the problem, and then to bring it in here, and you have to sign papers of more than papers, but it worked out, and this was great.
And so you run a series of different businesses. How do you keep control of everything that's happening? I mean, there's a wide variety of activities in different locations.
Okay, we are also we are not also in Munich. We have a subsidiary in Hamburg, and we are very proud to doing the restaurant in Berlin, in Berlin in the Reichstag. Since the government moved to Berlin, we are allowed to do this, which makes us very happy to be in the most important building of Germany, to do our business there. And of course, here you have to take care about the quality, and at the end, it's you have to find the right people in every place who really have the same thinking, the same ideas of value in quality. And the other point is, especially in the service business, it's quite important to be there every day. Yeah, and I have to be a model for everybody, and I like to be a model in this.
And it's interesting because being a host obviously requires you to have a lot of personality and engaging with humans. On the other hand, there are things like food safety, where there are very, very strict standards. And so you've got this interesting combination of certain things where you need people to just follow rules. Mm-hmm. And then other bits of the business where you want some personality and creativity. How do you think about the balance there?
I think that's quite easy, because to have the food control, to have everything controlled, this is the normal way, and we just hire chefs and then people who are working in our kitchen who really are aware about this, and people are so aware about it that it could be, let's say, in former times it could be a little bit difficult, but now it's no problem at all. And then we are, on the other hand, we are very strong, and we have somebody here in the company who's taking about the health things and everything, who takes care about this. This is the other point. So it's at the end, it's just a normal point for us.
And so we're in October in Munich, and for anybody watching this, be aware that Oktoberfest actually happens in September. Mm-hmm. So anybody coming to Munich now has missed it. You play a key part in that, and the story about how your family came to be part of the Oktoberfest, I think, is fascinating, because what viewers and listeners may not be aware of is you can't just turn up to Oktoberfest. There are very strict rules about who's allowed to be there. Can you tell us the story about how your family came to be at Oktoberfest?
First of all, with the Oktoberfest, always the last Sunday or the first Sunday, the last day is the first Sunday in October. So this is the reason why it's called Oktoberfest. And normally, I think this famous wedding, which was the beginning of Oktoberfest, was a wedding of a German, of a Bavarian king with a woman from Saxon, and then they made this party couple of years ago, and this was in October, so it's called Oktoberfest. But then they decided to do it a little bit better in September, because normally the weather is better in September, not this year, but this is another point. We have to talk this later. My father has this idea, and he was sitting here in a restaurant, and there was a guy who was in charge for touristic in Munich, and he told my father, "Oh, I have a problem. That have an old guy who just said, I have a small Oktoberfest tent which has about, I think, 60 places, and he went out of business. He said, okay, I'm too old, and I'm ill, and I can't do it, and now I have a problem. I have this place free." And my father said, okay, no problem. This was 4 weeks before starting Oktoberfest. We do this. And then he started with a small, really small tent, and then it grows a little bit. But let's say I think the special story about it was because my father was quite good in marketing. He knows a couple of people. This was in the 70s. In the 70s, Munich was quite very important for all the actors, for all the movie business, for everything what's going around. And so they started making small parties there. And so the Käfer tent became quite famous, and then of course every year a little bit. And next year we're going to be 50 years on Oktoberfest, which is something special, and especially for me because I grew up with Oktoberfest. As I started, I was always working there in my holidays, in my school holidays, and for me, it's Oktoberfest also something so special. The 16 days this year we had 70 days. This is really something amazing for me. This is one of the best times in the year for me.
And you're well known as being the place that people want to go to when they talk about Oktoberfest. When we see the photos of celebrities, it's always your tent that people are visiting. That must put quite a lot of pressure on you and the business, that you're the center of attention.
No, sorry when I say this. We are just proud about it and happy about it. But also my colleagues on Oktoberfest, the other big tents, they make really good. They make really good jobs, and they're doing an amazing job. But every tent has a special client, and we are quite happy that we have quite famous people here, but this is not only the famous people. The famous people are, let's say, 1%. The other people who come to our house are just very nice people, and we are proud that they are coming.
And of course, one of the regular things that we see is the Bayern Munich football team come to you. And as a Bayern fan myself, I always love watching those scenes because it's not traditionally what you expect to see from football teams, because they're obviously very fit individuals, and then they're coming and partying. How is that, and how's that relationship with the club? Because I know you're a fan as well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan, and the start is really when I was 7 years old. And this time Bayern was not as good as now. They were just in the second league. We can't amaze this that it was once happened. No, and then was quite. My father was a very good friend of my father. Was a former president who died a couple of months ago, and then also my best old friend is the son of him, and so we had always a very, very big relationship with Bayern, and then we cook for them for many years, and I think this is a big tradition, at least for the last 30, 40 years that they're coming. There's one Sunday where the team and the team is coming with the family, and this is always a special day for us as well, because it's I see all the players, and I made good friendships also with many players of them.
And I've heard that a few times it's not just the official appearance where they come as a team, but they also phone you up and say, can you get them in? Yeah, that happens from time to time.
This was very much happening in the league, especially the guys from Brazil, and they really like to celebrate. I can't tell. I'm not so loud in public, but there are really a couple of guys who really like to celebrate, and especially Oktoberfest, because this Oktoberfest is so something special. Yeah, and then they phone me, and then we really got a problem. We really have a problem because they normally phoned in. I got from we adjust the play is over. It's Saturday 6:00. We're flying back to Munich, so we're gonna be there with these 10 people on a Sunday at 8:00. And normally the tent is it's quite full. So this gives us some logistics problems.
But you always seem to manage to find a space for them somehow.
We find always a place.
And when we think about your role as a host, I mean, you talk a lot about giving people a good time. Mm-hmm. And I think what's really interesting is, yes, you're feeding people and giving them drinks, but it's the experience that's really important to you. How do you think about managing that experience? What does it take to be a good host?
I think the most important thing is if you're a good host, you have to love people, or you like people. Yeah? Because if you don't like people, then you can't be a very good host. I think it's the same business like you do. Yeah. If you don't like, if you go out, then you have to say, okay, I like people, and I have very young sons. They're 11 years old, and my wife and me they teach them and said, okay, let's say 90% of the people, they are always nice. There are 10% who are not nice, and 1% or 10% of the 10% is really not nice. But the most of the people, they are nice, and then you have to be open to go to the people. And I think this is one of the secrets. Then you have to think as a good host. You have maybe it's the right impression. You say, I have to be I have to sit there. I have to see it from the other side. How a guest feels. And then when you always be aware about this and think how the guest feels, and then you can give them this good time. I mean it on this way that when it's a little bit boring on the table, you have to put the music a little bit louder, and you have to see how the people acting, and then and then it works out. And this is especially we learned this, of course, with our catering service. And then before you ask me a little bit about the company, and the company we do about every year more than, let's say, 2,000 bigger events and then 10,000 smaller events. But here you got a good feeling for this, and you see it even on the faces of the people, if they are in a good way, a good mood, and if they are not in a good mood, you have to do everything that they go out. And I tell, especially here in the restaurants, I tell always my waiters, when somebody is coming and he's really angry and because they had a problem in the company or the family, and then he's so nice to him that he went out and said, I said, okay, now I feel better. This is more than this is even the same way to give the people good food, to give them good service, give them good beverage, to bring them in just in a good mood.
So that's something that carries across all of your businesses. So obviously that applies in a restaurant, but you can see that in Oktoberfest as well. And what I think is really interesting is you run delicatessens, but you're continually stretching the brand and what you do, all with food at its heart. There's always something about having a Käfer experience. Can you talk about what would you want people to feel as part of the Käfer experience?
First of all, we have to give the people good quality in everything. Yeah, to give them, because when you see the trademark Käfer, it should be a little bit better than other products, which is definitely not easy because there's so many good products in the world. Or even it's not the products, then you have to decorate it a little bit better. You have to, just to give the feeling of the products could be more. And I talked about the 10%, even in the products and even in our service, it always has to be a little bit more than our colleagues are doing, which is definitely not easy, and because everybody's getting better and better. But at the end, it's a smile from a waiter. It's how you put the items on a plate. A good example is we are very happy that it changed a little bit with plates. In former times they were just white plates. Now they have colored plates. And even when you have a white fish, will look gray, or even on a black plate, it looks much nicer than somewhere else. And so these are the small little details we are working on. This is at the end the Käfer spread, and my duty is to teach my people to do this, and always ask him to do it better.
And one of the things you're very well known for is your Käfer brand. So the Ladybird has become your brand, and you sell. I think I read somewhere that most households, certainly in Munich, if not in the broader area, have at least some item of crockery that's there. Can you firstly tell the story about how that came about? Because I think it's a fascinating bit of branding that
That's again, always it's easy at the end. It's again Oktoberfest, because we saw, of course, we had coffee at Oktoberfest, and then we had this little Käfer Hafer, we call it, which is, what is the English word? It's a mug, the little mug, and and then we served it on this mug, and then people take this mug at home. Yeah, and then my father said, okay, make it real easy, because allow everybody to take it at home, and just put 1 mark, which was the price of the Hafer, put 1 mark on the coffee, and then everybody could take it away. And so this starts, and then it's not even in Munich. It's so many kitchens I came to in other cities, even in foreign cities, and there's always this Käfer mug there. So this makes me as well proud, and at the end, it's the best advertisement you can have.
Right. No, well, I've certainly got a few, and it always makes me smile, which I think is a key part of your business. And I mean, one of the things the syndrome, you talked about that's a good example of sort of innovation out of China. One of the things I've heard you talk a lot about is sustainability, and vegan and vegetarian cooking. And I've heard you compare that to digitization and technology. Can you talk a bit about how you're thinking about that?
Of course, this is one. First of all, digitalization is a very important point for the service industry. The service industry, it is not productive enough for many years. There are many other industries that are much better. So we have to learn many things there. It's not worse, but it could be better. So this is one point, maybe even for the future, because now we have definitely problems with finding right people, finding staff. So we have to find just ways to make it easier for people for let's say in the service, in the kitchens, and digitalization really helps us much about this. And the other point is, we're thinking about so much about food waste, about everything which is in our environment, and this is a main point in the company, and this is so important. And my wife, she's taking care about this theme, and these are always again small little details we work, but I think we will go ahead, and electricity and everybody knows it now, but the point is not talk about, just do something. And I think we are here in a good way, but there is even much we have to do.
And one of the things that's fascinating, if we think about Bavarian cuisine, we traditionally think of meat as a key component of it. And obviously the vegan and vegetarian movement is now changing that. How are you thinking about that?
I think, of course, everything is okay. Yeah, you have to talk about the people who like just vegetarian food is okay. People who like meat is okay. There's a change, and I believe that meat will be in the future the you have to help me with the very English word, Beilage.
The side dish.
The side dish, yeah, it has to be the side dish. And then, like in former times, meat was always a big portion of meat on the plate. Now this is going to be changed. So meat going to be smaller. It's going to be the side dish. Maybe it's getting it back in the old times, because in the old times people just had on Sunday their Sonntagsbraten,
Sunday roast,
the Sunday roast, and they eat this, and then between the week, this was not so important. And then I think this would be the right impression for the future. And also people, and these are most of the people, they are, how you call it, the people who eat sometimes meat that they are not ideologies. Sorry about this English. I once had an American girlfriend that was much better in English, but I don't practice anymore enough more with English. No, and just to have meat, but not too much anymore, and so this is going to be the next feeling of the future.
And I think that's fascinating. I mean, you're basically saying let's reverse this around. So we traditionally build around a meat dish and we put some vegetables on the side, and you're basically saying let's build around the vegetable,
the meat,
and then the meat becomes the side piece. And I think one of the things that is interesting is the innovation that's coming in vegetarian cuisine and vegan cuisine. And I know that you're at the forefront of that. You've got a restaurant that's covering that space. How is you think that's going to be the core part of your business, or is it how are you looking at that?
No, it's not a core part, but it's a quite important part. And I just have an example. The first time our chef, the vegetarian chef, he made some juice, and this was just done as onions, and it tasted even better than the meat.
Wow, This is like a gravy.
It is the gravy, which is so that it's. The point is you have to find the right chefs who really you can do so many good things about vegetables, about fruits, about this is, and it tastes really great.
And so you're looking really at saying, okay, this is a new skill, so we need chefs that have that competency. Mm-hmm. And presumably that's quite challenging. They're not sort of freely available. You're having to find people that have that skill, develop that in-house.
We developed them in-house, and of course they're young chefs who are really interested in, but you still have to train them, and they also have to know how to make meat. They're just a vegetarian chef who's just doing vegetarian stuff. This is not okay. They also have to train with meat and how to cook things.
And how do you stimulate creativity within the company? Because on the one hand, it is back to the earlier question where we talked about sort of strict rules and controls, and obviously you want to protect your brand. On the other hand, you need innovation and development and new things. How do you balance those things?
This is well, it's a thing which is a very good question, because this is not easy, because especially in the restaurant and the business, you just have a system, and then it's not easy, but then you have the system, and you do always the same and improve this, make it better, find new items. And in our business, we really want to have the creativity of all the chefs, and because this is something about our trademark, to be special, to be other than the others. It just could be done to have good people who are really even not me, who is on top of the company, but the next stage of our people who I'm always looking to find people who are creative, who have ideas, because this makes us special.
And I've got to talk to you about the book which recently came out.
Okay, yeah.
Which in English is called the Borrowed Friend. Can you tell us a little bit, how did the book come about, and what did you hope to achieve by writing it?
First of all, I didn't want to write it. there was just the author about the book. He just always told me, "Come, Michael, let's make this book. Let's make this book." I said, "Okay, no, I'm not. There are so many important people, and not me." But then, yeah, I made it, and then I'm proud about it. So, so that's quite okay. And the Borrowed Friend is the title is because when we make a party, we are in for a couple of months. We're getting a part of a family, or we're getting a part of a company. We know so many things about a company and about family. Let's say a wedding is the most important point. When you make a wedding, you are very, very close to of course, to the bride, of course, to the bride's mother, which is most of the time a little bit more difficult than the bride itself. And then came the father at the end, and he said, "Okay, make it easier. It's too expensive." but no, these are all these points, and then we learned about the family. But on this day when the event is over, we are out, and then we of course we are friend, but not this real near friend, which we were in the time of the preparation of a party. The same thing is in the family when we make a family party, but the same thing has happened when you make a big event for a company. You know so much about the company, and you're really a part of the company for many months.
And in the book, you tell some fascinating stories, and there are lots and lots of celebrities and amazing things. And the thing I thought was really interesting was that you do tell stories, but there's lots of stories you could tell, but you're also very discreet, and that there's certain things that you won't share with people. And I think that seems to me to be very important. You want to give people a sense of the business and the life that you've led, but you're also very careful not to sort of breach any confidences around people.
Yeah, this is an important point about the company, because we are it's so private. We do some events, then it's definitely private. And then, like again, when you're a good friend, you don't tell things about the family, about the person, and then you just tell them the nice things, and then of course but normally then not bad things happen.
And you've met some amazing people in the business, and particularly as you were saying, I mean, Munich, very much, particularly historically, a cinema hub where lots of films were made. There's obviously the sports stars, there's fashion, there's a lot of sort of celebrities that appear here. So during a time, you've met quite a few interesting people. Anybody that particularly stands out that you particularly remember, enjoyed meeting?
Yeah, but at the end, it's getting normal. It's getting normal, and a little bit part of the book is maybe you know, I'm after I went to university, I started with a nightclub.
We're going to come on and talk about it.
And this was in good times, because you don't have money and nothing. So we had the real big stars sitting there, like Mick Jagger was sitting in a bar, and nobody makes a photo about him. So they had really just a good time, and he was talking to. Maybe he was talking to girls or whatever. I don't know what. No, but this is normal. But they had a good time in this trip, because they had a good privacy. And the good point is that I learned it from my family, but they were always happy that there were celebrities in our company, and but this is something, normal, and everybody is a normal person.
And it's interesting when you talk about mobile phones, and the sort of the way that celebrities get chased with that. Everybody is now photographers. Everybody is the paparazzi. It's also interesting from the food perspective, because one of the things you see in restaurants is people taking pictures of food. And so on the one hand, that's great from people sharing your product and they love it. On the other hand, that's quite a lot of attention being paid. Does that pose challenges for you?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Definitely, yes, because you always have to be aware all the times there could be something done. So the awareness is getting much higher than in former times.
And are you thinking in terms of staff training? Is that something that you think about in terms of the risks potentially? Because now what we see nowadays is that if a member of staff is rude to someone, that can very quickly on the internet become a problem. Or is your natural training covering that?
Okay, we also have a small academy in the company who is training people for many things. But the personal things which comes out of your soul, out of your heart, at the end you can't train this. So when you just said you're rude to you never could be rude to even not to your staff, not to your guest. This is just a philosophy, not ever. Again, you have to like people, and when somebody is not so nice, then to be nice to him, and then he suddenly gets a smile and said, well, okay, everything is fine.
We've talked a little bit about the business and the background. How do you see the future?
Not easy, not easy for the next 2-3 years. But these are challenges, and there are always times, and I don't want to. I never look at my age, but sometimes I look at my age and I said, "Oh, you're already so old." And then you think about the past, and in the past there were always good times and bad times, or good times and not so good times. But my generation, we have the really great luck to live in the last 60, 70 years, which is all the times it's just getting better and better. So I'm aware about the future, but I think that there are going to be really some challenges, especially in the next 2-3 years. We have problems. We have problems with the environment. We have problems. There's so many problems because this is the reason I don't want to talk about them. But at the end, I believe that people always have this brain and the thinking to find solutions. And I think there will be many solutions, and they would be found. And especially again in our business, we have to think about productive to be more productive in our business, to make not to give all this especially about the prices, to bring the prices not too high, that people still can effort to go to our restaurants, to go to make parties with us, and to go to our delicatessen shops. This is one of our effort we have to do. But at the end, I'm an optimistic guy, and an optimistic guy is there's a good sentence: optimistic guy makes the better business. Pessimistic guys, most of the times they are right, but let's make better business.
And it's interesting because there are lots of restaurants that go out of business, right? It's a very competitive, challenging space, and yet your family has managed to sustain, and the restaurant that we're in at the moment in a wonderful location has been there for a lot longer. Lots of restaurants have failed. What do you think are the keys to your success? Is it these core values that really help drive that?
There are many points. Of course, the name is quite well known. The name stands for quality. We stay on quality. We will never give up anything about this. Then then again, to find the right people, the staff is the end. The key is to find the right staff, and there we have to find for the staff. We have to find models for what could be easier, especially in this business. This business is a hard business. It's a hard-working business. You don't have to work on normal times. You have to work, let's say, in the evenings, even by night. You have to work by weekends. So, but we could find models for them how you could manage this easier, and they pay the people the right amount of money, and of course our products would be a little bit cheaper, a little bit expensive, but just to keep it at just told it a little bit before.
And you're not just in Munich, but you're also not just in Germany. You've expanded internationally. How do you make that happen, and how do you think about that? Because I could see a risk of we'll franchise and move very, very quickly. You seem to be very careful about who you will partner with and how you do that. How do you think about your international strategy?
Okay, internationally for many years we were in Japan, and then doing them. We have about now it's about 12 little shops in Japan, which are doing very well. We hopefully we sign a contract next week to start with restaurants in Japan, as with small German style restaurants, and of course sausages and things like this, not the real delicatessens things. But the sushi for Japan is a normal sausage. It could be fine. And this is one of the points. Then we do catering all over Europe, which is just normally, which is easy because there are no frontiers, and then this is not a problem. For 4 years, we're doing now a series with the Formula E series, which we do in about 10, 12 countries all over the world. This is a challenge, but we learn much about it. And again, you have to find the right partners there. And even with the growth of the company, we in every country we know somebody. We know that the people who are working in the hotels and this, and so we find the right partners, and the challenge is just to find the right partners in these countries.
And so you're thinking very carefully about it, because I could imagine one of the temptations would be to move very quickly. And I suspect lots of people will come to you and want the brand and the quality, and therefore there's a lot of control around that, I presume.
No, we always ask to do restaurants in certain countries, and just do it step by step. But it's a big chance for the future for the company.
You mentioned the nightclub, and I love this. I think this is everybody's dream, is sort of to own a nightclub.
Yep.
And so you were a student, and you thought this was a good idea to open a nightclub.
The funny thing is, many friends of us, of me, they always told me, I said, Michael, this must be the best time in your life when you have a nightclub. Everything was okay, and it was fun, and I said, no, definitely this was not the point, because my family always told me you have to work hard, and even if you do a nightclub, you just have 3 or 4 hours where you can make money. And then you have to prepare the whole day to do this in a perfect way. And we did it. We became famous. We became famous for parties, and we did special parties. And again, it was in a very good time in Munich. We started in the middle of in the 80s, and still in this time, Munich was really, let's say, the social center of Germany. Here in Munich were all the film companies. We had this big record companies like Ariola, all the famous singers. The famous band came to Munich. There was a very famous record studio here in Munich. So this was just normal to come to Munich, and I was quite happy that all these celebrities, all the stars were coming to the P1, and so the P1 getting more and more famous. And yeah.
And you brought the idea over from New York, so you spent some time studying in the US.
Yeah, we had a great time in the US, and I worked in the World Trade Center. In the beginning, I thought I could work upstairs, windows on the walls, which was a quite famous restaurant, one of the highest restaurant I think it was the highest restaurant in this time in the world. But I had to worked in the cellar. That's really just in the purchasing office. But it was a time I really enjoyed, and then I think in this time I don't went to bed for more than 3 or 4 months, because I went every day. I had to start working about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, but I just came from a nightclub there. My point is I'm not drinking. I'm drinking a little bit, but not so much. So I was in a relative good mood, and I learned so much about the night business and something what's going on. New York is always the biggest thing.
And so you thought, I'll import that idea, the sort of New York nightclub, into Munich?
A little bit. In these times, there were parties quite famous, and so we always made some decoration and special parties, and then we were quite happy that the media were reporting about us, and then they said, okay, it was a big party. And
But if you hadn't gone into the family business, what would you have done, do you think?
Something similar. I was in love with hotels. This is a point. I'm still not happy that we don't have a hotel. I would be a hotel manager. This was another dream. So I always want to be in the service business.
So you talk a lot about making people happy.
Yeah.
And so I think clearly what drives you is giving people a good time and engaging with them and making sure that they're smiling. And so the way you talk about the business is very much that you would, anything you do, it seems to me, would involve that process of making people happy, giving people an experience.
That's the aim. That's the end. The aim we have. Okay, you have to make the right preparation to do this, which is definitely not easy. So we again with Oktoberfest. That Oktoberfest is something. There's a team of 6 people who work in the whole year just for the 16 days. And when Oktoberfest started, we have about 600 people working in a very small area. A very important point is the preparation to make the people happy. You have to think about every situation which going to be happen, what's going to be done, and so. But this is the aim, and again, when the people go out of business and have the smile on their face, then we are happy. And this also, I'm also teaching this my staff and said, listen, this is something so special. If you work in an office, you never get a smile from somebody else, but here you always get a smile. You get an applause coming to you, and there's no better business where we can get it. Even the only point we're going to be artists and then stay on the stage.
And it's interesting because the way you talk about it, it is like putting on a show.
Yeah.
If I think about the way you talked about the nightclub, the way you talk about Oktoberfest, it's a performance, and you have to rehearse for that and plan for that, and then you put the show on for a period of time, and everybody, it needs to look effortless.
Yeah.
And the more it looks like it's natural, the more. But as you say, there is this very theatrical mindset that you're putting on a show.
Yeah, that's the point. Think about the situations which going to be happen. Think about everything what could be done, and even when people are not so happy, then you have to make a firework, whatever it is.
And if we sort of thought about other things that you might look at doing, I mean, we've talked about overseas expansion. We've talked about. Are there any other dreams that you would have for the Käfer empire that you can talk about?
And the most important dream is that it goes ahead, because I'm not so young anymore. My 2 boys are 11 years old, so I have to think what's going to be for the next years. Because, of course, if you get elder, then you have to understand the time. And I still think, I believe that I understand everything what's going to happen around. But and when you make a party, when you make an event, then when my client is 40 years younger than me, then it's not easy. So I have to find people who are in this age, to do the business for the next years. Hopefully the boys are doing this later. This is my personal thing. And the other point is, I'm still dreaming about a hotel. I'm still dreaming about, which is not easy, to do the Allianz Arena. We are again about soccer. This is one of my hard points, which I know not doing, but it did. I once made them not a financial mistake. I made an offer, and then somebody else made a bigger offer for the stadium, and I'm still suffering from this. And he's doing a good job as well. That's the other point. So I dream about this, and I think there are many challenges, especially again in the next years. We talked about this, that the time is getting a little bit rougher for the next years, but there are many challenges to take over maybe some business, and then to growth, and to be an entrepreneur for me is something special and makes me happy.
Can you talk a little bit about Corona and how that impacted business? How did you manage that? Because that's in a way it was predictable that this might happen. On the other hand, the scale and the size of the challenge would clearly have had a big impact on your business.
There is a big impact for the business, but now we all start to forget about it. This is the good point. I think this is something in human beings that you forget many world things, and I think we start to forget about Corona more and more. The 2 years Corona were for us definitely not easy, because we missed about 60% of our turnover. We were lucky that we have the delicatessen shop. all the other shops, and the shops are doing very well, then we a company who always, for me, it's important to have enough money in the company when there are problems, then not to get in a real problem. So this was a point which was quite easy, and and then to work with the people, to ask to talk to the people, to give them a good feeling. This I think we made this time quite okay. The problem, I think it was harder now when business starts again, because this is true. Many people went out of business. We have to find new people. We have to train many people. The service was in the beginning not so good that I liked, and we're still suffering from this. So I'm still not so happy than I was before Corona, because there was something changing in the mind of the people, and then we lost some experiences as well.
But you're still here, and the business is still going strong.
It's going strong, and we're still happy, and it's doing good. And then again, problems have to be saluted.
Obviously, when people come to Munich, and listeners of the show come to Munich, they're clearly going to have to come to the Käfer Schenker. That's obviously up there. But if they're not coming to one of your restaurants or delicatessens, what else would you recommend for people in Munich?
Oh, well, there are many good restaurants here in the city. Of course, there are a couple of 3-star or 2-star restaurants here. Then I think we're an Italian city, the best Italians here in the city. It's definitely not easy for me to really recommend some restaurants, because most of them, they are good friends.
You don't want to choose one or the other.
Choose of the others, but I really like one guy. This is Hugo's. This is a guy I'm so proud about him, because he started he came from Italy, started in P1 just to make to work at to take care about the codes and things like this, and now which is about 25 years ago, and now he has about 10 restaurants, 300-400 people for him, and he started just with nothing. So I'm really so proud about this guy.
That's a great recommendation. And outside restaurants, what else would you recommend for people in Munich?
Yeah, of course, you have to go to the museums. The museums are even better than they are, especially the Pinakothek, the Moderne, the Alte Pinakothek. They are so good. Then the surrounding of Munich is I think is the most beautiful surrounding. To go to Tegernsee, to go to Lake Starnberg. This is so nice. So I would recommend to go around Munich to see what's happening around Munich. They go to the mountains, and then the whole city is it's just a beautiful city, which makes it more sometimes not easy to go to the city, because sometimes it's too beautiful. It's the same thing is happening when you have this beautiful person next to you. You do a little bit it's not easy to go to
right.
And the same thing is that sometimes in Munich and it's my big love to be in the city, and I was so happy to live here. And
of course, the other thing people need to do, Michael, is to go to the Allianz Arena to watch the world's best football team. That goes.
But it's always all sold out.
And so, the final question for me is: when you're not running your business, what do you do to relax?
First of all, this is the family, of course. The horrible thing, I always think about business, but I love it so much. This is also a problem for me to go to another restaurant, because I always look for what they're doing, what they're doing better, what you can learn from some colleagues, and then my wife and me, we are a little bit in running. We do every year a half marathon. And then we train a little bit for it. My wife is much better than me, but I'm doing okay.
Very important when you're surrounded with good food to have exercise as well.
Yeah, you have to.
Michael Käfer, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I thank you so much for helping me. Thank you very much.
So that's it for this very special episode of the Human Risk Podcast. My enormous thanks to Michael Käfer for appearing, and to EQS Group, the organisers of ECEC2022, for helping to make this happen and inviting me to do it as part of the conference. To see a video of my interview with Michael, and to watch all of the videos of every single presentation at ECEC2022, have a look in the show notes. There are links to those there. As part of that, you'll be able to hear an astonishing interview with the whistleblower that broke the story on the 1MDB scandal in Malaysia. If this is your first time listening to the Human Risk podcast, welcome. You can subscribe wherever you get your quality audio content. It's available on all of the major podcasting platforms. I'll be back very soon with another episode of the show, but in the meantime, stay safe, enjoy your food, and thank you so much for listening.